Hello and welcome back to Obsessive Prep-A-Z. Well, it's Christmas 2019. Do you ever get to the point where it's so busy that you're just going? You get invited to Christmas parties. You're not quite sure what to bring. You don't want to bring that everyday appetizer that you might bring all the time, and you just want a neat idea. Well, have you ever made Christmas Posole? It is so yummy, easy to make. I did this yesterday. I brought a huge stock pot. I started out with 11 pounds of pork, added all the ingredients. Stick with the video and I'll show you what I did to make my posole. And it was just a success, and everybody can make it their own. It's a pork stew. Some people use chicken. I love the red chili, and I'm going to show you short versions on how to make the posole without having to roast your chilies. A secret ingredient that I use to make my posole easier. Now, also because it was for a Christmas party, I made my own little sign. So by making a sign, just makes it a little extra that it's yours, and also gives people an idea of what to do if they've never heard of posole, what to add and how to do it. So easy to do. I just use a folder paper like this, printed it off, and then put a bottom to it. Easy, easy. Also with posole, if you're not making it for a Christmas party and you just want to make it for your home, if you've got a pressure canner, so easy to make your meal and then put up your posole. I made 7 quarts of posole out of the batch that I did. Super easy to do. Throw it on your shelf, and then when you're ready for it, all you've got to do is open it up, grate some cabbage, radish, cilantro, and onions, and throw it on top. Don't forget the lime squeeze. So come along with me. I'm going to show you how to make this yummy posole. If you stick with us at the end, I'll show you some of the Christmas scenes. We went out looking at Christmas lights. There was one house that just knocked it out of the park. So if you want to see this Christmas house in Scottsdale, Arizona, it was truly amazing. Come along and I'll show you how to make posole. Okay, so I don't just throw my pork into my stock pot. I like to sear my meat before I even put the meat into the broth. A lot of people will make posole and just dump their pork or their beef into their liquid. I like to brown everything. So I've got several processes that I'm going to do here. I've got some onion and some garlic down at the bottom. I'm doing a huge stock pot of posole for a Christmas dinner tonight. And so I have 2 large onions, the Spanish onions in here that I've diced. And then I've also got about, I would say, 6 cloves of garlic. And I'm searing my meat here. And I've got 2 more packages of pork that I'm going to add to my posole. Now, if you've watched any of my videos, I love my Lowry's garlic salt. So I will always do a decent spreading of this onto my meat, and then also into my onion mixture. And then another thing that Lowry's makes is the carne asada seasoning. And I know this isn't typical posole, but I love the seasonings, and it makes the difference into your posole. So I will go ahead again and add some of the seasoning in on my meat here. What I do is I will build up seasoning as I go, and that's just adding flavor on top of flavor. And this down here, if you notice, if it starts caking up at the bottom, no biggie, because once you add your stock in, it'll all come up to the top. So I'm going to go ahead and finish searing all my meat, and I'll get it in the stock pot, and I'll show you the next step. So I go ahead and buy my pork at the ranch market when I'm there. It doesn't make a difference what kind of pork you get. You can buy something like this where you can cut it up and dice it yourself, or buy the pre-cubed. I went ahead with the package that I've got in here and the other 2 packages. I have close to 11 pounds of meat. Again, like I said, I like to have a sear on my meat before I put it into my stock. I think it just adds a huge flavor add boost. So sear your meat, I think. Take the time to do it. And Also, it's good to buy some of the meat. It's good to buy some of the meat that has the bone in it, because that will also add some flavor into your stock as you're cooking it down. So we have most of all of our pork already seared, and while it's sitting here in the pot, like I said, at the bottom, don't worry about it, because most of the little bits and pieces at the bottom will come off when you put your stock in. I've got my last bit of my pork in my frying pan, and I have the piece that has the bone in, and I'm searing this entire bone piece also, which is going to go into my stock. And this is just going to add a bunch more flavor. Don't worry about this brownness. This is nothing but yummy taste. So we're going to finish searing this stuff, and we'll put it into our pot. All right, I have my big bone seared and the rest of my meat. I'm going to go ahead and finish putting the rest of this in my stock pot. We've got a hefty amount of meat in here, but because I'm doing the pozole for a party, I want everybody to get some meat, and this is going to be a huge batch. Now the next thing we're going to use is chicken stock. 2 of these large containers of chicken stock that I'm going to add to my pozole. Now when I do this, I add a little bit of the stock in, and what I will do is at the bottom I'll just scrape, and all those little bits and pieces will come off the bottom and make just a wonderful flavoring for your pozole. And as it cooks, it will also come up and lift off the bottom. So we've got a good mixture on that. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of my chicken stock in. I may end up adding some extra chicken stock to this. This is a guessing game. I do not have a recipe on this. It's my version of the pozole, and so I kind of go with my heart and my taste. I've just had so many people ask me how I make my pozole, and so this is just a quick video of me making it the morning before our Christmas party. So already telling off of how much meat I've got in here, those 2 containers is not going to be enough. Now you can add water, vegetable stock, whatever you want. I'm just using chicken stock. So this is the equivalent of 12 cups of stock that I'm adding in here. I buy my chicken stock at Costco. I think it's the cheapest. They've got some organic stock. I think, you know, I don't try to eat everything organic. I wish I could, but I try to buy and purchase when I can organic. And Costco's got such a great price. All right, so this is the base. When you're making pozole, a lot of people make their own red chili, and that is up to you. This is a shorter version of making a pozole that makes it super easy. And what I purchased is Las Palmas red chili sauce, not their enchilada sauce, it's the red chili sauce. And I know that in certain parts of the country, it is hard to find this. And so, you know, if you can't get it, you're gonna like have to go to making your own. But the Las Palmas is primarily what I use. Now, I went to go to my local ranch market, and they were completely sold out of the red chili sauce. I know that they sold out because this is the season for making tamales, and this is the easiest version, and it's one of the best red chilies out there. Now, if you don't want to make your own, I am also going to make the pozole with the bacas. You can find this in your freezer section. Maybe not in certain places like Kentucky, Tennessee. Take a look, Walmart, places like that, and see if you can't find bacas or Hatch red chilies, green chilies. But all it is red chili pods, and you add your own flavoring to it. Now this is still frozen. I'm going to go ahead and thaw this out a little bit before I actually add some too. But I'm gonna go ahead now and I'm gonna add my red chili sauce. So on this Las Palmas, this is the 1 pound, 12-ounce cans. Now I made pozole about 3 weeks ago. I used 2 containers of that chicken stock, and I used 2 cans. So I figured 1 container of chicken stock, to 1 can of the red chili sauce. And this really depends on how spicy you want your pozole. So if you don't like a lot of spice, then I would say reserve some of your red chili sauce and hold it back a little bit until you know if you want to add some more or not. But also on pozole, you're adding things to the soup. So you're adding hominy. At the end, you pour your soup over some onions and some cabbage, radishes. So that will dilute some of the heat down. So just keep that in mind. So I have bay leaves now. I'm going to add bay leaves to my mixture. I'm going to do probably 4, maybe 5, depends on the size of the leaf here. I'm going to do 5 bay leaves in my pozole here. I also have some paprika I'm going to add to my pozole. And I'm going to do the equivalent of 1 tablespoon of paprika. At the ranch market, I purchased their ground oregano, and I add that also to my pozole. And again, it's not being precise, you know, it's all by flavor. So I say add flavors as you go. Add some flavor, add some seasonings, taste it in about a half hour, an hour, and keep adding to it. So this is a tablespoon of oregano. I have some ground garlic that I'm going to add in, and I'm going to say half a tablespoon of ground garlic. Now the next flavor base that I'm going to add is the Knorr tomato and chicken. Now this makes a huge flavor amp to this pozole. Now I know there's a ton of people out there that'll argue, you know, too much salt, blah, blah, blah. You know what? You got to do what you're going to do. This is what I do. This is how I make my pozole, and I'm telling you, it makes the difference. So I'm adding 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, and 3 tablespoons. Makes a huge difference in your pozole taste. It's tomato base. If you want to do your chicken, but then if you can figure out adding some tomato to it, you could probably do some tomato paste. I like my Knorr products and my Lowry's, so that's what I use. So I'm going to go ahead and get the temperature up, get it to boiling, and then I'll get back with you. I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of cumin. This is a big pot. It can handle a tablespoon of cumin. So as this cooks, come back, stir it, and in about an hour, taste it and see where your flavors are at. Do you need to add any more garlic? Do you need to add any more oregano, any more cumin? It is solely up to you and the taste that you want. And as it cooks, it's going to just keep getting more flavorful. So this is the Baca's red chili. Now this is hot. So I'm just going to go ahead and add probably, this is like equivalent of almost a tablespoon. And I'm going to go ahead and add probably 2 of these spoonfuls of it. Now the reason why I got the Baca's, like I said, my local ranch market was out of the Las Palmas, and I was talking to my daughter because she in Kentucky can't find any of this product. So she ends up having to roast her own pods, grind them down, and make her own red chilies. And if that's what you want to do, that's great. But a simpler version, if you're in a hurry and you can't find the Las Palmas, is this Baca's in the freezer section. I am now going to add about a tablespoon of onion powder, not onion salt, but onion powder. And I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of the Lowry's garlic salt to this. And as you keep going, you keep tasting and seeing if you need to add anything else to your seasonings. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe. If you want to be notified for future videos, ring the bell. Have a blessed day. So we're out tonight looking at Christmas lights 2019. Husband is doing awesome. I'm naughty. And he's nice. We wish you all a Merry Christmas. I told you. Oh, here comes Santa Claus. Ho, ho, ho.
Just don't lean on it,
The amazing things people do for Christmas. Absolutely beautiful. Oh. Look at the legs. This is in somebody's backyard. A little Rudolph over there. It is truly amazing what people do for Christmas. Amazing.